our staffing to be CEO Ed Bartholomew, CFO Mark Toomey, and our counsel Kara Lace. Any comments? Any suggested changes? Concerns?
We're grateful for your willingness.
Yes. for sure.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is
I'll
there a
second.
second? Second?
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty, so that will stand. Any other business, Ed, that you want to come before this committee that you,
No,
there
not for the
being
idea,
none?
no.
Any other members have any other business for the IDA? Okay, there being none, I'll take a motion to adjourn the nominating committee meeting for this time.
I'll take it.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
The nominating committee is adjourned. Okay. So, I would like to now call the governance committee. So, the members of the governance committee are Todd Feigenbaum, Dan Hall, myself, and John Cordes. And I'd like to reconstitute that membership for this coming year. If all are in favor and there are no questions, is there a vote to accept that?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The committee shall stand as we recommended. Now, there are two policy issues. The I think, as you know, that we have put in place over the last several years that we have been together some 39 policies. The majority of them we're not recommending for any change. But there are two policies, one where I think we're recommending a change and we would like to adopt one new policy. And so our policy of performance and mission report is the one I think that we're considering for change. And then we're looking at adopting a new policy, which you have a copy of, which is the assessment of internal controls. Is that,
That is
if you'd like
correct.
to talk about those, Ed?
Yes, and working with Kara, these are the recommendations that came from council. For the public authority performance mission statement, there was the requirement that was inadvertently omitted, one from our mission statement as to the exact date in reference to the municipal law when by statute by the New York State Legislature that the Glens Falls IDA was established in 1976 under that particular section of General Municipal Law 923B. Each IDA has to be created by the legislature, and that is a requirement of ABO to incorporate that into the mission statement, as well as just updating and refining that we have talked about in the past and actually have stated this in other policies in terms of retention of jobs, the creation of jobs, also participating and really our mission is to review applications for purposes of granting certain investment benefits such as payment in lieu of taxes, sales tax, and mortgage tax exemption, as well as working with the city in a number of other potential projects through the brownfield opportunity areas on Warren Street and South Broad Street, with the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, with the federal designated opportunity zone on the west side of the city, as well as to work with our LDC within the Tech Park and other locations of the city. So it's a really a restatement as well as outlining some specifics in there. And then the additional questions that are now at the bottom of that policy, additional questions. And first question, do you want me to continue, Judy, or do you want to?
No, and,
Okay.
and I think what I would do is, I mean, all the members, have this in their documents, and, we can certainly put it up online. And there's a, 3-paragraph mission statement, and then there's the performance goals, for the year. And then the questions really pertain to, do we as individual members of the board, that, you know, we acknowledge, that we have read these and that we understand them. And so I would ask all the members here, on your paper copy, if you would, circle your answers to those additional questions, and leave that, with Ed for the record, before the end of the meeting today, or, before our meeting on Thursday would be fine as well. And so hopefully everyone has a copy. It's a 3-page document, and, the questions start at the bottom of page 2. And there are 5 brief questions that pertain to our understanding, of this policy. And while, we're adding this to our list of policies that we're putting online, our mission and purpose has not changed, while our, performance goals, are being listed for the first time. They're the same goals as we've had, for the last 2 years, at least, since we added the DRI. And so there is no significant change, to what our performance goals are. We don't identify specific projects, obviously, other than, at this point, the DRI. And as long as we're continuing to operate under the DRI with the state of New York, we'll continue to list that, but at some point that work will be completed. The rest of our work is ongoing. Any questions or comments about this? Okay. So, let me ask that the members, agree to adopt this and to add it, to our, list of policies, and have, the mission statement added online. Is there a motion to accept
So moved.
that? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So granted. So then the next item is, the assessment of the effectiveness of internal financial controls policy. And this is new, and I believe it's, not only being recommended by council, but it's being recommended by the ABO. And so I think everyone has a copy of it here. It's a 3-page document, and this would be policy number 39, I think?
39, correct.
39. Yes. So, the Public Authorities Law requires all public authorities to complete an annual assessment of the effectiveness of our internal control structures and procedures. It's also a part of our annual audit that we do each year, as we prepare for an audit and for any filings that we must provide is automatically there is that internal control. And here what we're doing is stating it in writing and then adding it to one of our policies. And what I'm going to recommend that we do going forward as part of this is that that this committee have a meeting in February of each year to do this basically in advance of the completion of the audit, in order to comply with this.
Yes, and we are working on, in consultation with Kara, with ABO, we are developing a chart, and the chart will list all of these categories here that were required by ABO into a document, and I think there's like 26 criterias, and then we will adjust whether it, prior to this adoption, the risk was low, medium, or high. And then after the adoption in the review next February, where are those risks that are listed? Are they still high, medium, or low in doing this? So it's more of an internal that will be reviewed as well by an outside audit, which is what Whittemore Dowling Riccadelli does from a third-party independent. This is an internal review that is required of all of our three agencies here today, CDC and LDC.
And we're joined today by Colin Combs from Whittemore Dowling and Riccadelli, and Mark Toomey, who is handling all of our financial matters. And so I think what we would do, I know one of the things that we do, Colin, is you'll send me a note, and your office will send me a note annually, and maybe other members, and we go through some of this in our response to you.
Correct.
I think what we would do is, on a day maybe when you're here conducting the audit, that we would come and hold this meeting with you and kind of go through some of those internal controls.
Okay.
And so we would probably do that, and I would think we would do it probably in February. Each month would be timely.
January or February.
Okay, it could be January?
Yeah,
Okay.
it could be as early as January, that way, you know, to keep the audit going, to get everything to you on a timely basis, so you can meet your filing requirements, why, yeah, January would probably.
So maybe what we'll do is we'll try to do that in January then, and not February, and keep our audit on schedule.
Correct.
In advance of that, we will have a sharing of that in the coming meetings of that draft chart, along with the details of that criteria. That'll be finalized when Kara gets back to look at that. I've drafted up and in consultation with the guidance policies of ABO relative to that.
Okay. So in the meantime, everyone's got a copy of policy number 39. I would like to adopt this today and start putting that into place.
So
Is there a
moved.
motion? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is approved. I believe that is all the business I have to come before the governance committee. Is there any other business, Ed, that you
No,
would
there
like?
is not.
Is there any other business the members would like to raise? There being none, I'd like to call for a closing of the governance committee meeting.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
It is. So, I'm now gonna call together the audit committee. And the members have now had our 2019 IDA audit. And again, we're joined by Colin Combs, our CPA, from Whittemore Dowling and Riccadelli, who has handled our audit, and Mark Toomey. And I would like to turn this over to Ed to make any opening comments, and then let's go to Colin and go over the audit, if you will.
Okay, we want to thank Whittemore Dowling and Mark for working collectively. This was a year of transition that we had with staff, and we appreciate the assistance from our chair as well as board members, and Mark coming aboard, and with Whittemore Dowling and Colin for being available and undertaking and getting this audit completed in a timely fashion for our requirements that we have as well. And at this point, turn it over for presentation by Colin and Mark as well to make any further comments.
Hi, thank you for inviting me to your meeting. And I'm gonna be very brief. There wasn't a lot of transactions in the IDA this year, as you know. But what I will do is point out, if you have the audit report in front of you, it's page 1. It is our opinion on the financial position of the IDA, and in our opinion, the financial statements referred to in this report are presented fairly in all material respects. We had no material issues to deal with. We did make a few journal entries to clean up a few things, but there was nothing material or substantial. With that being said, I'll turn to page 6. And again, I'm just gonna hit the highlights, the big changes. This is the statement of net position. And I'd like to point out that your cash and cash equivalents decreased in 2019 by $55,000. You also had a due from Glens Falls CDC of $1,800, and you increased the due from the Glens Falls LDC by $18,000. That being said, your total unrestricted net position decreased by $42,000 on the year. Any questions? If you turn the page, this is your statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position. Your total revenue for the year was $1,250. Your contractual expenses, $43,641, and that's primarily was made up of payroll, your EDC contract, legal and accounting fees. So it was right on track with what was spent last year, and with your total net position ending up at $113,153. Any questions on any of that?
Yeah, Colin, how do you insert the administrative fees that are received by IDA? Are they designated under revenues?
Yes, the
Okay.
charges for services. The administrative fees, you had 500 of agency fee income, 750 of application fees this year, and then a little interest income. And that's
No,
what-
we did have, and again, that's perhaps where the adjustments come in, we did have the administrative fee for both Peter Hoffman that was undertaken beginning in 2019. That was, I believe, might have been paid in January. And I guess that's, it matters whether it's in 2019 or 2020.
Yeah.
Is the fact that we have administrative fees of $7,500 from the transition with the 14 Hudson, as well as with Peter Hoffman. So I assume that those are marked, incorporated in this, in 2020 then?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. Any other questions?
Just more of a general question, are there any, changes in accounting practices for organizations such as this that we can anticipate in the future or that we should be aware of, that are being recommended by government in any way?
For you, I don't see that happening. There are some changes with leases that's gonna take place for 2020. But you don't have any leases, you don't lease any equipment, you don't lease any office space, anything like that. There's changes for pensions and OPEB, but that, again, that does not affect you.
Okay.
So, at this point, I'm not aware of any new standards that are changing that'll affect the IDA itself.
Okay.
And that's mostly due to the size. If you had payroll, you had staff that was paying the pension and you were paying the OPEB, the health insurance, that would affect you.
Affect us.
Yes.
Very good. Any questions by the members? Okay. Any questions about the audit itself or financial condition? I mean, we're receiving these reports monthly, and so it is as we know it to be, I believe. All right. I'll call for a motion to accept the audit as presented.
I'll make it.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The audit is accepted, and we'll move forward through the process. Is there any other business, Ed, that you want to come before this committee?
No, there is not.
There being none, I'll call for a motion to close the Finance Committee.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we have closed, we've taken care of governance, we took care of, well, nominating, we took care of governance, and we took care of our finance and audit. What I'd like to do is open the annual meeting.
Yes, that's correct.
And that is probably somewhere at the bottom of this file. I am not finding the annual. Thank you.
You do.
Okay. So, for the annual meeting, I'm calling forward the annual meeting of the City of Glens Falls IDA. I would like to recognize the election of officers that we just did as part of our nominating committee. I would like to also the committee appointments that we made for nominating audit and governance for the coming year. And I would ask the members to confirm that in your vote for the purpose of this annual meeting. Is there a motion to accept those
I'll make the
elections?
motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those appointments are hereby recognized as part of our annual meeting. Thank you. As you know, as part of our governance, we just considered the adoption of amended policy number 24 for performance goals and measurements, and then we adopted a new policy number 39, the assessment of the effectiveness of internal controls. I would also like to call for the ratification and approval of all the other existing policies and procedures 1 through 38, now 39, that we have put in place in the past, and recognize that we're reconfirming those with no changes other than the ones that I referenced, unless there are any comments or changes that you'd like to bring forward here. There being none, is there a motion to approve what the committee just did with both amending policy 24, creating policy 39, and approving the continuation of all other policies 1 through 38?
Make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We just reviewed and approved as part of our Audit and Finance Committee the audit for 2019. I'd like to reconfirm that unless there's any comments or changes here. There being none, is there a motion to approve the 2019 audit as presented?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Internal controls and procedures, Ed, is that something that you
That
wanna
was,
talk
that was a
about?
that was a policy.
We
that
already did that?
We have adopted, under 39. That's just a recognition and review that we will be forthcoming with. We don't have the chart, we don't have the risk. Now, we've adopted the, policies, and that will be done, next year in a thorough review, with this. So we're, we're initial step here of getting this policy in place this year.
And we'll probably have that meeting in January. Is there any other business to come before the members? Just as your chair, I'd like to thank you all for your commitment of time throughout the year, and I think it's important to take this pause and overview these, not just our audit, but these policies, and to come together in this way, and I'm glad that we're doing it today separate and apart from our regular meeting, both in order to get it done. But I just wanna thank everyone. You guys are, you rarely miss. You come early in the morning to come and to do this, and you've been doing it, we've been together as a group for a long time, and there's quite a bit that's going on in the city because of the work of this committee, and it's hard to not drive or walk around downtown in particular without seeing the effects of the decisions we've made and the work that we've done as a committee. So I hope you think about that when you're out for a walk or a drive or stopping by one of our great restaurants and taking a little bit of pride in the work that you've done for the city and for all the people who live here.
And
So-
I love the Rotary.
Oh, so do I.
I love it. I tell you,
Except for 5
one of the best things that happened to the city of Glens Falls was getting that traffic mess straightened out. And I think
Really.
that did it. Of course, there's a few that like to try to beat everybody, but it's
They-
really
They
great.
gotta have one at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, yeah.
And at the monument.
Yeah, you're right.
Don't move that monument.
You can get it around it. You can go around it.
And,
Put it right in the middle.
and when we've got to have one of the best libraries we've done.
There,
Our
Yes.
local
that's
library.
the truth.
Absolutely.
That is so
The
true.
hospital is
Beautiful.
is really a gem,
Wow, yeah.
and buildings like 14 Hudson. I was at a dinner at Morgan and Company the other night, had a wonderful meal, and remember the days when we used to have our meetings there. I mean, what a beautiful building that is. Stuff going on at the
Theater.
Queensberry all the time. So there's really some great things going
Yeah, it
on
was-
here, Mayor.
We want to thank you for your leadership, and I know there's a lot of things that you do after
Sure
hours,
do.
and conversations with Ed, and to keep us on track. So when we walk into the meetings, it's pretty much ready to go because of the work that you and Ed do. So we want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
So,
John had a comment.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
just talking to the Queensberry Hotel people, and they started with 30 employees, now they have 100.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
great.
that's wonderful.
That's
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
It's beautiful inside.
That'll be
Yes.
part of our report on Thursday, John.
Jumping the gun, jumping the gun.
but it's true,
It is true.
and I drive by on my way home all the time,
I do
and
too.
that Fenimore is packed. So there's a lot of good things going on here, and I like driving around and seeing it and seeing all the activities. So good work, everybody. All right, I'm gonna call this annual meeting to close. Is there a motion to close?
I'm gonna get
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just indicate that we do have our monthly meeting this Thursday at 8 o'clock in the Mayor's Conference Room.
Thank you.
Okay.